All right. So I just talked about for 1, 2 minutes without knowing I put myself on mute. I hope that was not a problem. I did not say anything important. What I said was, hey guys, my name is Ram. I'm from Great Learning, and today I'll be teaching you all about Excel. So, this is an interesting topic to teach you guys. So, sometimes you'll overlook Excel and you might not think about it a lot in your life, but it really comes up in certain fields. Like if you come into an analytics field, if you're in some kind of research field, you will definitely have more of a use of Excel than you had in some kind of manual field where you have to do a lot of manual work, or where you don't have to document a lot of things, right? So you can see that Excel definitely has its use cases, and there are some people who've even done PhDs in Excel. So it's like a simple tool that can be expanded upon a lot and used in a lot of different ways. So before I begin, what I want from you guys is that you need to tell me whether you guys can hear me properly and whether you guys can see the screen properly or not. That is going to be important. So go ahead, leave a message in the chat telling me what the confirmation. And while you guys are giving me this confirmation, right, I am going to go ahead and show you something really awesome. And people who are regulars will obviously know about it, but it's always good for the new people to get into this also. So here at Great Learning, we started something called Great Learning Academy. So it's a place where you get free certificates, right? So no catches, nothing at all. The only catch is that you need to have internet and that you need to search Great Learning Academy and click on the first link, right? So that's all the effort you need to do. And here you're going to find all the free courses that you may want. So the first thing itself you see is the searching thing over here, right? So go ahead, search whatever you want. Do you want to learn English for basics for professional? Do you want to learn Photoshop? Do you want to learn Python programming, Hindi? Just search whatever you want and you'll find a relevant course for yourself. If not, just go ahead and scroll down. You will see all the live sessions that we do on YouTube scheduled over here, so you guys can get informed about these. You can register for them. Then if you scroll down even more, you'll find all of the courses. So if you want to browse through all of the courses, feel free to do so. We have a lot of different courses. We excel in data science, ML, and AI. So I would recommend going and checking those out if you really like them. If not, we also have amazing courses in IT and software field also, like information security, cyber security, data structures in Java, and a lot of different things, and cloud computing and marketing and finance. Now, a lot of you who may be watching this are not interested in the IT and software field because Excel is not really suited, but they obviously do use it, right? Like it's not like you cannot use it if you're working in another field, but it's also not the case that they have to use it. So in fields such as like marketing and finance, you might use Excel. In data science, you might use Excel. In basically analytics areas, and where you need to basically have the need to organize, right? So even simple jobs can require Excel. And if you're not using Microsoft Excel, you're using something like Google Sheets or something, right? Google Sheets is also something that really awesome, and it's kind of corresponding to what Microsoft Excel has to offer, but it's online and it's by Google. So that's the difference. Anyways, coming back, there are a lot of courses. Please definitely check them out. You can enroll for any course for completely free. You don't have to pay anything. And once you complete this course, you will have to pass a quiz, right? So once you pass that quiz where your knowledge has been tested, you can go ahead and complete the course and get a certificate certified by Great Learning. So you should definitely check it out. It's really good for those people who have no idea what they want to do and they want to test the waters out. So check out different courses. If you like something, follow that. Build up foundations for yourself, right? Especially in this pandemic situation where you don't have a lot of options, you need to understand what you like, and you really need to build a career for yourself. And you can show your certificates to employers, showing credibility for the knowledge you have, right? That you've passed this test and you know this knowledge. All right. So that was Great Learning Academy. Free courses. You can do this by heading to greatlearning.in/academy, or download our mobile app and do it from there. So you have a lot of options open for you. Now coming back, let me open up the slide deck and let me see what my chat has to offer me. I really like interactive chats, and I get disappointed sometimes when people aren't talking a lot because it's not that fun. I really like when people chat, they interact with each other. So that's always really fun. So let's see who all people have come. I see Tiger Emmanuel is over here. Hey man, how are you? I remember you attending some of my previous sessions also. We have Adil Akhtar also. We have Kashyap again. Hi Kashyap. And hope you guys really enjoyed my previous sessions and then you'll enjoy any of my new sessions, right? All right. So we have a lot of people saying, yup, they can hear my voice. Sound is clear. Screen is also working. Thank you for letting me know. All right. So right, fine, fine. So Uday is asking a digital marketing course. So you can go ahead and check out that course on Great Learning Academy. And whatever you need other than that, you can go ahead and recommend to us or ask us in the comments. Okay, so I want one more thing from you guys. I know I just asked one thing before, but I want to know what kind of field are you guys from? Because I just go ahead and let me know in the chat what kind of field do you guys come from. It will be interesting to see what kind of fields do you guys come from, right? So go ahead and let me know in the chat. I'll wait for your answer. We have more people. Gaurav, Nitish, Raja, Prem. Hey guys, hope you enjoying a session. Hi Nida, hi Neeraj. We have Lakshmi also. All right, so we have the fields coming in. Uday is saying he works in telecommunications. We have Rohit working in accounting. We have Raja, who's an engineer. That's what I'm going to assume. And we have some computer engineers like Gaurav, Neeraj, mechanical engineers. We have Nitish, who works in commerce. We have Nitin in IT. Again, Kashyap is in computers. I do know that Kashyap. Then we have Shrikant in electronic. We have Fildaz in BD, Raj in EC. So we have a lot of different fields. So that is really interesting, man. Like a lot of different people are watching this session. See, you guys don't really have a lot in common, but you don't have a lot in common, but still coming and watching this session. That means something. That means that Excel has something to offer, right? So there's people from accounting, there's people from computer science, there's people from mechanical background, commerce background, electronic background, EC. That's the same thing. Testing background, and we have someone from real estate also. So that's something really fabulous, man. There's a lot of different people from a lot of different locations. We have someone from Islamabad also. That's awesome. I love teaching people from outside India too. And we have basically a lot of people here from a lot of different backgrounds. So I'm going to tell you guys one thing. Almost all of you will have some use of Excel in your life. Maybe it was back in school and maybe you're done with it, but maybe in future the kind of management job, if let's say that you guys get into management jobs, or let's say you already are in management jobs, you're going to start using Excel definitely, right? So Excel is it's hard to describe. Like there's a lot of different things you can do with it. You can organize data, you can create extensive data sets in it, can perform data analytics. One of my this thing relatives, he works in the steel industry, and they make extensive use of this. So you can see that even in such obscure fields that people are definitely using this kind of stuff, right? So Excel is something really awesome, and let's go ahead and learn this, right? So the first thing I want to teach you guys about Excel is basically what is Excel. So let me bring up the sheet that is going to explain it much better for you guys. So I brought up some sheet over here, some rough notes for me that I want to explain to you guys later, but I'll open a new tab over here. So we call these worksheets. So this is basically your Excel over here. Excel is like a tabulation software that helps you create tables, organize data, and perform calculations. So when I say data analytics, what I mean is that you have a lot of large set of data, right? And you want to perform analysis on that kind of data. So how do you do it? You have a lot of tools on your hand that you can use, but generally a lot of people rely on Excel. Maybe let's say that you are not from the computer background and you don't know how to use a lot of those really tech savvy tools, right? So what do you do in that case? So when I was talking about my relative, right, so he's also not someone who knows about coding and everything. So he doesn't know how to use SQL as to query data and all that kind of stuff, but he's boss at using Excel. So is like Excel can allow you to do a lot of different things even if you're not into that coding background. So let's say you want to calculate the sum of something. So let's say I write 10 over here and I write 100 over here. Now this is an easy calculation. What is going to be the answer? It's going to be 110, right? So that is going to be our answer. But let's say what if there was like a very long, I have written some number over here and I'm going to write some number over here. Okay. Let me just write numbers. Right. So we have like large numbers over here. So how can we add them? So I'm going to use something called, the sum, and I'm going to select both of these cells, close them, and you see I got the sum of both of these. Now, obviously, you guys can't just look at it and tell ki, you are right, this is exact sum of it. But you get the point, right? That it's very easy to use a lot of formulas that you would normally do with calculators, or you would do it by yourself, right? Like division, subtraction, all those kind of things. You can even create your own formulas over here. And that is something that is, again, a big use case for Excel, that you have some specific use case and you want to develop a formula for that use case, then you can write your own formula, right? Okay, so that is an example of what it can do, especially in regards to the analysis part, right? I still have a lot of answers coming in. We have someone from biotech. So Sonali is from biotech. We have Radhika, who's from the BCA, and we have Rija, who's a teacher from data science. We have an IT teacher over here. We have we have a person who's in statistics. So you guys might know about Excel because you are in that kind of field, right? Yes, Raja, it is very useful for data analytics. It's used by a lot of people who work in that specific department. And we have Alina, who's from Namibia. Oh, hello, and Alina. I hope you're going to enjoy this session. We have Tawid from Nepal. We have Udesh. We have Udesh here from Gorakhpur. Welcome. Hi, Udesh. And a lot of people from Delhi, Goa, and someone from China. So that's really awesome. Hi. Hi, Mohammed Shafiful. I butchered your name, but hi. And let's say, yeah, so we have a lot of people here. Okay. So now we know what Excel is, right? So I want to get into a little bit more basics. Let me explain all of these things over here. What is these? What are this? What is this cell, or what is this blocks over here? What are these tabs and all? What do we call all of these things? So there is a nomenclature that you have to follow when nomenclature, as in there's names already been given to them, and you just have to remember these names, or not even remember, just think about them in basic. So the first one is over here is your ribbons in the main home page, right? So when we are in home, right, we have a lot of different things, and then we have a lot of different options over here. So we call these ribbons. So you have the home ribbon, you have the insert ribbon, you have the page layout ribbon, you have the formulas ribbon, you have the data ribbon, you have the review ribbon, and you have the view ribbon, right? So let me start off with the file ribbon. So file ribbon is basically the place that allows you to create new Excel files, right? You can go ahead and create new Excel blank workbooks from it. You can open old ones. You can save this one. You can save as. You can choose a different location to save your particular Excel. You can choose to have it in Excel workbook. You can have it stored as PDF. You can have it as CSV. You can have it in a lot of different formats, right? So whatever is useful for you. You can go ahead and print your Excel sheet. You can share it with other people, like maybe just mail it directly, or if you have one cloud, that is Microsoft's own cloud, storage place. So you see OneCloud, sorry, not OneCloud, OneDrive, yeah. So you can save it to cloud directly. If you want to export it in another format, like again, PDF/XPS, and if you just want to publish it. So Power BI is a really awesome and very powerful visualization tool, right? So there you make use of this kind of data sets. Like, so how many of you know about Tableau? Let me know in the chat. I want to know how many of you know Tableau, because Tableau, right, and Tableau and Power BI kind of fill the same niche, where they are visualization tools where they collect data. They don't collect data, they take data sets and they visualize them using a lot of different kinds of arts and charts and bar graphs and a lot of different types of things, right? So you can take Excel sheets and use them in a lot of different places, in Tableau, in Power BI, in whatever visualization tool. Or if you do not want to use any of those visualization tools, that's also fine. You can go ahead and create visualizations within Excel itself, right? Okay, so this was our file ribbon. Now, when we come to home ribbon, this is kind of like your PowerPoint and your Word document. Now, I'm definitely sure that almost all of you know what Word document and what the file this thing the PowerPoint documents do, right? They allow us to create PowerPoints, they allow us to create Word, and I know you guys have used them. So here you're gonna find basic stuff here. So like format, painter, cutting, copying. You'll have the font regularization, like basically make whatever font you want, choose the color and everything. And you have the text alignment over here, everything to do with text. You have conditional formatting where you highlight certain cells with based on certain rules, right? So like greater than, less than, between, whatever. Format as table, you can choose what kind of table you want to create. So like just select a bunch of cells together and select format as a table. Just select this and yeah, so there's no my table has headers, so there's no data, but I've just created a table out of nowhere, right? And I can go ahead and name these. So that's an again amazing option. So it's as easy as that. So this home ribbon is basically your go-to things for a lot of things that you want to do fast. Like if you want to find and select data, there are a lot of so Excel has something like something called lookups also that really help you find out very specific data. So you don't have to know querying, that is type in some in SQL language and get the data. You can just find and replace data here as with the help of the GUI itself. And that's your home ribbon. Now if you come to insert ribbon, you have again a lot of different options. You can create pivot tables. You can just create tables over here. You can where's the data, but it's not mentioned, but you can go ahead and mention what are the tables you're going to be blocks you're going to be using over here. Let me just cancel this. You can go ahead and put in pictures, import pictures over here. There's an option. So this is basically inserting a lot of different things. And again, as I told you, visualizations, you can do a lot of visualizations over here. So let's say that this is age, right? Let's shift this over here. And this is name. So I'm going to create a few names that I saw from the chat. I'm going to choose my name. I'm going to use Kashyap, let's say Alina, and Raju. All right, so I'm going to give everyone ages. I am 100, Kashyap is 104, Alina is 120, Raju is 200. Yeah, so we're all wizards basically. Okay, so now I want to create a pie chart out of this. How do I do it? Do I open a visualization tool, or just do I select these cells and click on pie chart and I click create a 2D pie chart, right? So over here, so you have a lot of options in while creating this pie chart. Let me just close this. Right, so basically you have a lot of options to create graphs and everything, right? So here you can see that how useful Excel is in our case. We can do a lot of different things, and even in insert we have a lot of options. You want to create bar graphs, you want to create line graphs and everything, and page layout, basically margins, and this is there in Word, so I'm not going to explain this. And formulas is one of the important parts, because you're going to be searching a lot of formulas and you're going to be using a lot of formulas, right? So you have lookups and reference, like I talked about. You have the auto sum. Let's say if you wanted to calculate the sum of all the things, all the ages, so I'm going to do equals to sum. I'm going to put all of these and I'm going to close it. And this is going to give me the total age number, like how many years of age of experience do we have between ourselves. If I want to find the average, I'm going to write over here equals to AVER, average. I get the average option. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to open parentheses. I'm going to select the cells of whom I want the average out of, and I'm going to close it, and I'm going to find the average. So between all four of us, the average of the number of years is 131. So again, this is like a direct cell referencing, but you get it, right? So you can calculate the sum of it, or if you just want to find the count, so you can do the count also, and a lot of different functions that are available to you. So that is your formulas ribbon, and then you have the data ribbon. So over here, you can basically, from the tables, you can basically analyze the data using all of these different options that have been given to you. Then you have the review option. You can check out the thesaurus, do a smart lookup, translate anything you want, and finally the view option. So this is basically different ways of viewing the data that you already have. So these are the different ribbons, and in Excel, these are called ribbons, right? So now, what about the whole file itself? So the file itself is called workbook. So if let's say that I want to save this book one, right? I can go ahead and click on file, click on save as, go to browse, and select desktop. And in desktop, I am going to save my Excel workbook. So this is going to be book one for YouTube audience. I'm going to save this, and this will save my workbook. So this is a workbook. This is basically your set of all the sheets that are in one particular book. So it's like having a notebook where you have pages. On those pages, you have a lot of different knowledge or whatever you've written, right? Similarly, you have workbooks, and you have a lot of sheets in those workbooks that act as like pages, and you store information on those pages. Now, what are these sheets themselves? So these sheets are basically called worksheets, right? So they're basically like a large piece of page where you can do a lot of calculations, store data, and all of those kind of things, right? All these blocks that are there, these are part of a sheet. And that's when we come to these cells. So every block that you see over here is called a cell, right? So this is cell A1, this is cell A2, this is cell A3, this is cell A4, this is cell A5, etc. for B and all. So you have like billions of cells that you can, use basically. So if you see me scroll over here, I can keep on going over here also. And each of these cells, right, you can basically use them for your formulas and for storing your data. So this is basically your basic building block of an Excel sheet. All right, so okay, so this is your basics. Now, if you want to install Excel, so there are multiple options. Just type Excel download, and the first link you get, right, download Excel by Microsoft Spreadsheetware. You can go ahead and buy it or try it for free. It's generally a paid software, but if you work for a company, generally they offer you a key for your Microsoft Office. You'll have that. If you if you are a student who's working in a college, or if you're a school student, your school might be providing a lot of keys, right? So those you can use those keys to get Microsoft Excel. All right, so that's how you download it. Let me come back to my Excel sheet. Let's open the chat, what the chat has to say. We have a lot of people in the chat. So, okay, yeah. So we have Tawhid saying, yes, I know about Tableau and Power BI. Which one is easy to learn, Tableau or Power BI? So I would recommend Tableau because I've used Tableau in past and Tableau has been really good for me. But Power BI isn't really, that bad. You can go ahead and use Power BI also. So like Psycho is saying, Power BI is for data visualization. So it's for that purpose. So Akash is asking for my Telegram channel name. You can go ahead and search for Great Learning Telegram. That's where you're going to find, Great Learning. So Yashpal wants me to write his name down. Okay, definitely. Next time I'm going to create a table. I'm going to use your name. All right. Thank you, Psycho, for helping me out here and there. All right. So now let's do something very basic. I want to create a table. Let's call this name. Let's call this age. Let's call this phone numbers. Let's call this salary, or let's call this marks. Let's say that all of us are students, right? So let's call this marks again. Marks 1, marks 2, and mark 3. All right. So if you guys remember back in school, right? If you guys were, if you guys are not already in school, uh, that means you've passed school. So you remember that the teacher would always call out your name, and you would sit down, No, you would not sit down. You would answer to the teacher. Let's say that the teacher would shout out by saying, I'm going to ask who all are present, and they're going to start saying names by alphabetical order. So they're going to go like, is Arjun here? And the Arjun is going to say present, right? So they have a register where they write all of that down. So those registers are basically what your Excel thing is. But it's like a very powerful register that can do calculations for you, right? So let's say we have Yashpal. Yeah, so we have Yashpal. Now let's say that I'm gonna take one more name. I'm gonna say Psycho is here, and we're gonna say Khalid. And let me take one more name. That is Rahul. All right. So we have Rahul and all these. So let me just give these guys in ages. All right. So phone number is not needed. Let me go ahead and delete this. I can delete this. All right. So I deleted that the entire column that was not needed. Oh, okay. There was one more basic thing in Excel, that you have rows and you have columns. So your rows are generally numbered like this, and your columns are generally lettered. So this is column A, this is column B, this is column C, this is column D, and etc. If you keep on scrolling, you'll find more columns, more variations. So from single digit, from single column, letter column, it goes double letter column, so that you can easily identify, right? And same with rows. You can have hundreds and thousands of rows. I'll show you guys one data set. So this is one data set over here. If I just keep on scrolling down, you guys can see how big it is. There's like 27,000 entries in this, right? So this is a large insurance data set that I found online. I just wanted to show you guys. If we come back over here, yeah. So one thing interesting is that you can go ahead and format all of these things. So let me just color this. All right. So I'm gonna give marks for all of you. Let's say this is you guys are getting marks out of 700. So yeah, 70. I'm gonna give this 87. I'm gonna give this 13. I'm gonna give here 85. So similarly 56, 74. Okay, that is way too many marks out of 100. 19, 87. So that's fine. We can have two people with the same 87. Let me copy this 85. Let me put the 85 here. 55, 44, 33, and 22. All right. So we have a lot of people, and these are students in one class, and they have 3 marks. So mark 1, mark 2, and mark 3. All right. So now since these are the number of students in your class, how are you going to find the total mark? So we want to see if they pass or not. So the total mark that they need to, like, they don't need to get. So the total marks that they can score is 300. So I'm going to go ahead and write over here total marks that can be scored. Okay. So I'm going to write this, and I'm going to expand the column. See, you can expand the column by clicking on the column letter, the bar you see over here, the small line. So you just click on that and you expand that. Okay, so you can reduce and increase it. So just keep on expanding it until you see the whole thing. And since I don't like the 300 over here, I'm just going to make it in the middle. So the total marks that can be stored are 300. So let's see what the total mark for each of these students is. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit and just calculate the marks for each of these students by hand? I mean, I can do that, but it's a lot of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the same thing that I used with that I showed you guys. So there is a simple formula over here that you need to do. That is put equal to symbol over here. Whenever you're creating formulas, right, you need to put equal to symbol, and then that's when you can start including all the cells, right? So here the simple logic is that I want to add these 3 cells because Yashpal's complete marks out of 300 will be the sum of this cell, the sum of this cell, and the sum of this cell. Now I can do it manually, but instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select each of these cells. So I'm just going to select C2. I'm going to press Control, and then I'm going to press this. Then I'm going to press Control and press D2. Then I'm going to press Control and I'm going to press E2, right? And I don't want commas over here. I want to see plus symbol. So I'm just going to put plus. Instead, I should have put plus in the start itself, but I did not. So this is what I wanted. I wanted sum of all these three cells, and I'm going to press enter. So you can see that it's automatically calculated as 145, right? So 145 out of 300. So now let's do the same for Psycho, Khalid, and Rahul. But should we do the same thing again? Like I can go ahead and type equal to and put C3 plus D3 plus E3 and then press enter, and I can do this, keep on doing this. But what if, let's say, there are 50 students in the class? We can't do that, right? So instead what I'm going to do is, let me delete this and show you some magic. Just select this and screw, just pull it down. When you pull this down, what it basically does is, the Excel thing, it basically understands what formula you're using in your first cell, and it basically copies that formula for all the cells below if you just pull it down, right? So this is something really interesting. See, we don't need to calculate it by default. It calculates it by itself, right? Like we don't even need to do it manually. So we can see automatically how much Yashpal is getting, how much Psycho is getting, and how much Khalid is getting, and how much Rahul is getting, right? So we can see their marks. Now let's see the average mark. Now this average mark is going to be for each student. So out of the three marks they scored, what is the average mark in all of their three exams? So here I'm going to do equal to, and how do you calculate average? You put in all the cells, then add plus, here I'll add plus, then I close the parentheses, then I divide this by 3 because there are 3, right? So I'm just going to press enter, and it's going to calculate the average mark for me. And then I will just pull this down. So you can see the average mark calculated for all of them. So this way you can just figure out their performance. Now, obviously, you shouldn't be judging students like this based on just their marks and average mark they're scoring. But this is what I'm showing you guys. Like, this is what you can do with it. Let me just make all of this in the middle. All right. So here we found the average marks for each student, right? Let me just shift this away because this is not exactly the part of the table. So if you want to shift something away, just select both of the cells. You see this cross icon will appear. If I remove it, it won't be there. But if I come back to the border, it will always appear when it's on the border. So select that and shift it away. So you can see that I've shifted the whole thing away, but the formatting has changed because the cell over here is not the same length. So I can just go ahead and increase the cell length again. Yeah, I did that because this was not part of the cell. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write over here total marks scored and average of class. Yeah, let me just expand these. All right, so for the subject 1, so let's say this is subject 1, not mark 1. And here again, you can see if it's subject 1, right? I don't want to write everything by myself. So I'm just going to pull this across, and it's going to make subject 2 and subject 3 also for me. So you can see how easy it's made it for me. All right, so this subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. So I just want to see total marks scored in each subject. So instead of writing the same formula that we used before, what I can do is I can use, instead of writing the same formula again, what I can do is I can just type equal to and sum. So this is a ready-made formula that you can use. And once you write sum, right, you need to open parenthesis and you need to mention from where to where. So let's say we want to calculate all the sums over here. We'll do C2 is to C5. So this is C2 is to C5, right? We'll close it and press enter. So this is for us. This happens when we select it. Now over here, I can just write sum, open parenthesis, and mention the cell block by myself. So let's say it's D2. Then I'm going to press colon over here, and we want till D5. So I'm just going to write D5. Instead of me selecting it, I'm writing it directly and then pressing enter, right? And now you can just, expand it. So we have the whole total mark, and the complete number of marks scored is 665, right? That is 300 into 4. So it is out of 1200. So out of 1200, the whole class scored 656 marks, right? So average of the class for this subject, what is the average? Again, I can just write equals to average. Instead of writing the whole formula, I can just write average and then open parenthesis. then select all the cells and then close parenthesis and press enter. So this is the subject average for subject 1. Now let me just expand this, and we can see the average of all the subjects. So for subject 3, the class average was 56. For subject 2, class average was 44. And for subject 1, class average was 63. Right? So you can perform these kind of actions. So what happens when you want to do some kind of other calculation? So let's say you want to do division. So let's say there is 100 in one cell and 10 in one cell. Now you want to do the division of these. So again, just press equal to, find the cell. This is B11. So I'm just going to write B11. Now I'm going to divide this. So I'm going to press for backslash, and I'm going to write the other cell, that is B13. So let me just write B13 and then press enter. So I get 10 over here. That is 100 divided by 10. So if we change the numbers, right? So let me go ahead and make this some random number and press enter. So you will see that it automatically reflects over here. So here also it automatically changes all the values if we make those changes in these marks. So let's say for Psycho, right, that 85 was a fluke and the 87 that he got was not the actual number. So the teacher marked it wrong. It was actually supposed to be 0, 5. So he only scored 5. So you can see how many things changed. You can see that his total mark changed, his average mark changed, and the class average and the class total for this particular subject also changed, as well as the total mark. So all of these things are being kept in, what do you say, uh, they're being monitored by Excel. They'll see if the new change happens. If the new change happens, they'll basically make that change happen to that specific value where that formula is referencing. So this is called cell referencing, where you're referencing certain cells. So here I'm referencing E2 to E5, right? And you have different kinds of referencing. So let me open up one sheet. So you have sheet 1 over here. Let me just drag sheet 1 over here. So this was our sheet 2 and this was our sheet 3. So let me just drag sheet 3 over here. So you can drag any sheet you want. So we'll come back to sheet 1. But before I continue about cell referencing, I want to see what you guys are talking about. I have not checked the chat. Let me see the chat. So Ayush is saying, yes, it is easy. So again, remember, this is Excel from complete scratch. If you guys have some knowledge, then this is just a revision for you. So we'll have general succession of sessions like these, where you guys can come and learn more and more every time we have this kind of session. Okay, so today we are starting from basics, but we will be getting into more details later on. So Mehboob is asking, will there be any sessions on advanced and Excel programming? Yes, we do have a plan to do those advanced kind of things also. But again, this is from Learn Excel from scratch, right? So I hope I haven't disappointed any one of you guys who wanted to come and get all the juicy how to do a lookup, how what are the specific formulas I need to use, and all that kind of thing. Okay, so that comes under a lot more advanced stuff. So I am going to teach one advanced stuff, that is the different kinds of referencing that we can do. Okay, so this is one advanced stuff. Any other thing is just going to be basics, right? So before I continue on to teaching you guys about the advanced referencing methods, do you guys have any question regarding this? Did you guys understand this? There are some tips and tricks that I want to tell you guys, that whenever you have these kind of things, just make sure that you highlight them, because this kind of data can get very boring. So, and human eyes don't like boring stuff. So let me just put total marks scored and put these as more distinct values. Yeah. Right. So you can go ahead and heat color them. So it basically gives you, you can go ahead and, this is basically a conditional formatting. Now you can set conditional formatting in your own specific rules, like greater than or less than. So this way you find out which student is doing the worst. Like, so if you highlight it and let's say you put less than, so let's put a cell C3. Okay, 1 second. All right. Anyways, we'll get on to this later. So somebody wants to know more formulas. So if you want to know formulas, just go to formulas and check out all the extra formulas there are. Like there's some min and max. Oh yeah, let me just tell you guys about min and max also. They're very easy stuff. So over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put max mark acquired for subject, right? So this is something that is for whole class as together, and we'll change this to yes, and let me change this to black. All right. So over here, I'm going to do max, and I'm going to mention all these. Okay, let me just put this across, and over here, I'm just going to do min parenthesis, close it, and just put this across. Right, so here we know what the lowest mark is and what the highest mark is. So this is a boon for any teacher. So I think I did see one teacher in our session. So I'm pretty sure this will definitely help you out. Min mark scored in for subject. All right, fine. So this is basics. Now let me just go back to sheet 1. Now I will go ahead and end this session by telling you guys about the relative referencing. Okay, so here what is relative referencing, what is absolute referencing, and what is mixed referencing. So when we talk about relative referencing, right, we are talking about cells themselves directly. So coming back to our example, so let's say we have subject 1 and subject 2, and we want to add both these subjects. So let me just remove this. And when we open a cell, put equal to, and we directly reference these cells. So if I press control, I press C2, and then I write plus, and then I press D2, and then press enter. So I get 126. So this is basically relative referencing, where I'm mentioning the cells directly. Obviously, I can go ahead and write them myself, or I can select them myself also. So that is your basics of what a relative referencing is. Now, when we talk about absolute referencing, this is whole another topic. So let's say that in our exam, we want to calculate what would happen, what is the percentage that they scored. So out of the 300 that they scored these many marks, right? So what is the actual percentage? So we need the total marks. So we want to calculate the percentage. All right, so here the percentage, how we will calculate is, we'll press equal to, and we are going to reference, right? So let me just take this. So this is our F2. So it will be F, no. So let's take the whole value, that is K, K2, right? So K2 into parenthesis 1 minus, wait a second guys, no, I am completely wrong over here. When we want to calculate the percentage, when you do it in math, you basically take these two values and you divide them by 100, right? So you press equal to, and we take F2 value, we divide it by the K2 value, and once we take F2 and K2, we just multiply this into 100. Yeah, so let me just pull this down. Right, so now you see that there is an error over here. Why is it giving me this error? So it's giving me this error is because when we pull the average mark down, right? So let me just double click on it. You can see that it referenced these things. And when I pulled it down, Excel automatically detected that I wanted to calculate the subject marks of all the three subject marks of this next person. So that's why it went down by itself. I did not have to inform it. And similarly, it did it for this, and similarly, it did it for the last Rahul also. Now, I did not mention any of this, and I just had to pull them down, and it basically auto detected. So how did it auto detect? It basically saw we selected the C2 cell, D2 cell, and E2 cell. So when it came down over here from G2 to G3, instead of taking C2, D2, E2, it basically took C3, D3, and E3. Similarly over here, C4, D4, E4, and here also it took C5, D5, E5. Now here, when we have one value being working against the other value over here. So let's say that there's one fixed value, 300, and we want to calculate with all of these things. If we just do the same pull down, so let me just, yeah. So if we do the same pull down, we get a division error, because what it will detect is that you selected K2 value. So in the next row, you probably want to select K3 value and then K4 value, but there is nothing in K2 and K3 and K4, because we don't have any values. We just have one singular value over here. Here in this case, we had multiple different values, right? And so what we're going to do in this case is we're just going to try and reference this. We're going to make one variable over here static. That is our K value. So let me just open this up and let me mention $sign. So when I mention the $sign, right? So let me just make that also a little clear. We have K2. What is K2 over here? K is the column and 2 is the row. So when you put $signs in front of any of these, either the column or the row, you're basically making that static. So if I put dollar symbol in front of the K, then the K will remain static. The 2 can change, but I will do the same thing for the row also. So this way, that 300 value is fixed. So Excel knows that this value is fixed. It doesn't need to come down to K3 and K4 like it did over here, right? So now I am gonna get the same value, but if I pull this down, I am gonna get the percentage for the rest of them also, right? So over here, this is our percentage for basically 134 out of 300 is this much percentage, 120 is this much, and what is 500? So our total over here should be 1200. Now this is different, so this will be a totally different formula. So what I'm going to do over here is equal to, I'm going to create a new formula for this, where I mention F6 divided by K6. Let me put parentheses around these. And put star and 100. So the total class percentage is also 47, right? So this is your absolute referencing, where in this case, you see that when we were calculating the total mark, we were just, getting all the ones that are below. First, we took C2, D2, E2, then we took C3, D3, E3, then we took C4, D4, and E4, and we just calculated the total marks of them by pulling them down, right? Because they were just below each other. But here we have only one reference. There's nothing below it. So we need to make this static. To make it static, we make use of the dollar symbol, right? So let me just go ahead and give you guys another example over here. Let's take this table. Let me copy it. I hope this will give you guys a better example. And now basically in this example, we're going to be doing mixed referencing, where we're using relative as well as absolute referencing. Okay. All right. So let's come down. So this is going to be a different totally table with different data. So we can actually create a new sheet for this. Okay, so let me just put the actual price on day 1, price on day 2. All right, let me copy this, let me paste this. All right, so let me explain the scenario over here. Let's delete this. So the scenario over here is that you're working for some local business, and you have come up with the idea of having discounts for a particular holiday season, be it Christmas or be it Diwali, whatever it may be, right? So for that purpose, you have like a multiple day sale. That's your idea. Now everyone can come up with like a 1 day sale idea, right? But not everyone thinks about a multiple day sale. So you come up with a new idea and you go tell your boss that, boss, we have two products, product A and product B. So we can attract our customers by giving sale on these products, right? So when we give sale on these products, to save money, let's have something really interesting. let's have the discount reduced day by day. So on day 1, the discount will be 20%, and on day 2, it'll be 10%, right? So how do you quickly calculate the value that each of the product will be on these day? So we have product A, that's actual price is 100 rupees or $100, and product B, whose actual price is 200 rupees or $200, right? So how do you calculate price on day 1? So first, let's do the simplest equation formula, where we calculate the 100%. So let me just make this. Yeah, so your discount on day 1 is 220, and on day 2 it's 10%. So let's calculate for day 1 for product A. So I'm going to put equal to over here. And how do we calculate percentage? First, we're going to take the A2, and we're going to multiply this into 1 minus the percentage. So here basically we are getting 80% of 100, right? So 80% of 100 is going to be 80. So after the discount, we are getting 80 rupees. The product, we are getting the product for 80 rupees. So if I press enter, we got 80, right? Now this formula, right? So again, it's referencing B2 and it's referencing C9. So if I just pull it down, what Excel is going to think is that I want next to calculate B3 and C10, which is not true. I want B to remain. I want, even though I want B to remain, I don't want my 9 to change. I don't want my C9 to change, because I say want the same discount. There is no other discount over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down, and you will see that there is 200, which is not the discount, right? Because if I select on it, you guys can see that it selected B3 and it selected the next cell after the discount, that is C10, right? So this is not what we wanted. But what we can do is we can go ahead and delete this, and let me try a new formula over here. So here I want my C to remain constant. So I'm going to go in front of C and put a dollar symbol. So this way my C will remain constant. Let me press enter and let me pull this down. Once again, why did it not change? C10. Okay, so it did. So I don't want my C to remain common. Sorry. This is my mistake. Let me remove that. Here, I don't want C to remain static, because C is this column. So it's going to go down anyway. I want the row to remain constant. So in front of 9 is where I should be putting the dollar symbol. So I'll put 9 and press enter. And let me pull this down. So over here, you can see it now perfectly calculated the discount for 200 product on day 1, 20, right? So that is 160 is the price on day 1, right? So now we can just pull it on the side also, right? So actually, if we pull it on the side, we get 72, which is weird. 10% of 100 should not be 72. So let's click on this, double click on it, and see what happened. So what happened here was it basically took the C2 value, because it just shifted to the right hand side, and we did not make our C static, or we did not make a B column static. So it assumed that it had to shift. And for the column D over here, it shifted, which is good because we want 10% right here over here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of this formula, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove these two, and I'm going to change the formula again. This time, I want to make sure that the B column remains constant. I don't want this selection to happen on C also. So I'm going to go in front of B and put a dollar symbol and press enter, right? So if I pull it on this side, I will see 90, which is true. If I double click on it, you can see that the B2 is remaining constant, and the the D9 is remaining constant. So the 9th row is constant and the B column is constant. Again, I can just pull this down and pull this to the side, which gives me the accurate price. So here I have calculated the actual price for my product A on day 1 and actual price for the product on day 2. Successfully, I have done this. So this is your mixed referencing. I know a lot of you are confused by this, that, what is that static is he talking about? What is that, is this discount he's talking about? And so basically, let me just do this once more. I will do this once more and we will end the session, because this is an important topic. I think you guys should know. This will really help you out. All right, so let's go through this again. There is a person who's saying there are two products that they want to sell, and they are ready to discount it for 2 days. On day one, the discount will be 20%, and on day two, the discount will be 10%. So how do they calculate it over here? First, we'll do a very simple normal discount where we'll reference these to sell without having that static thing to keep in mind. So first, I'm going to select B2, and I'm going to press minus. In parentheses, I'm going to mention 1 minus this cell. So let's do the actual calculation. That is 100 into 80. 100 into 80%. So 100 into 80% is going to give us 80, because 100 and 100 get cancelled and you just get with 80. So what we're calculating over here is basically we're calculating 100, 20% of 100, that is going to be 20, and we are subtracting that from 100. So that gives us the discount, actual price after the discount. After the discount, it is 80. Now we want to do the same thing for B also. Instead of writing the formula, same formula again, like, doing this and multiplying it into 1 minus this thing, we can do that. Obviously, we can do that. But I don't want to do that. I just want to create the formula and I want to calculate it for multiple products. Let's say if we had 100 products, how would we do it, right? So in this case, what do we want? We see that the B columns, right, they are same. So we go ahead and make the B column static. If we make the B column static, Excel will not shift away from the B column like it did previously. So we can just go ahead over here. So we have B column is static. Now it can go to the next row also, 10th row. Excel will go with if we don't tell it not to go. So to stop it from going, we go ahead and make this column, this row static. So because both our values are in this row, 20 and 10. Right? So we have made these two static and these two static. So we can just go ahead and pull this down over here. It becomes 160, and pull this over here. It becomes 1980. Right? So let's say if we added a new product, see again, if I just expand it, it will automatically, sorry, it should have done C. Yeah. So here, let's say the new product is worth 150. So we can just pull these two down and we get the values, right? So you can see how awesome it is, where we keep on adding and it will automatically calculate the discounts on day 1 and day 2. Okay, so guys, that was it for our Excel for from scratch. I explained a little bit more advanced stuff. I hope it wasn't a problem, because I wanted to give you guys a tool that you could use in actual real life. See how I gave an example for the teachers. The teacher could go ahead and use this for calculating average mark, percentage. You can even calculate percentile if you use the right formula, min, max, average, and total marks, right? And then, we used for a product changing the price day by day. So this is, a really important tool. I hope you guys understood it, and I hope you guys liked today's session. If you did like it, please go ahead and click on that like button. That really helps us out. And we know that you guys like these kind of sessions. So if you do like these kind of sessions, like the session, because then we come up with more. Then we can come up with the next series in this part of the live sessions we're doing. If you guys want more content on Excel, if you guys want more content on Excel in Hindi, we can do an Excel in Hindi also, because I don't mind teaching in Hindi. I know, but that puts a barrier on other people. But if you guys want it, we will do it. Cool. All right. So guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Ram, and today we learned Excel, and I hope you guys will have an amazing weekend and an amazing week ahead of you, and I will see you guys in my next live session. Thank you so much for watching.